Good morning, everyone. Welcome to my channel. I'm Aviel, the Israel, the Super Guy. I'm here this morning in West Virginia. Yes, guys, all the way from the Holy Land here to West Virginia, where I have the opportunity to preach this morning on the book of Luke, chapter 7. So stay tuned. And if this is the first time that you visit my channel, don't forget to subscribe to the like button and also ring the bell so you'll be notified every time I upload a new video. So stay tuned there.
Ladies and gentlemen, all the way from Jerusalem, Israel, can you give Marcos Rivero a Judson Baptist welcome, please?
Shalom, Joe. Well, I am thrilled. I'm honestly overwhelmed by your hospitality. It's been here just a week and a few days, and I couldn't feel more at home. I've been in Israel for 20 years. This September will be 20 years. And I barely feel at home there. It's a long story. But yeah, thank you for coming, and it's a real honor to be here with you guys. And for those who haven't heard about me or didn't meet me on Wednesday, yeah, Wednesday. So just briefly before we go into the Word of God, born and raised in Venezuela. That's where this Hispanic accent is coming from. This is not an Israeli accent. I'm sure you speak that way. And I've been living in Israel for 20 years. September, this is coming in a few weeks, will be 20 years since I arrived over there. And so I do a bit of everything. I left my cards, if anyone is interested, on the table with all my social media. If anyone is interested, you can follow me through there. So this morning, I thought about speaking on the Gospel according to Luke, chapter 7, verses 1 to 10. Before I came, Pastor Ron, which is from, let's see if I can say that right, Mount Vernon.
That's good.
So there were two pastors in Israel. Was Pastor Charlie and Pastor Ron. And so they said, well, try to say something about, in his steps. And I'm thinking what message to bring. So I thought about this passage, and the link to this passage is tonight. So it's basically one full message divided in two services. So I'm going to read from the Gospel according to Luke, chapter 7, verses 1 to 10. When Jesus has finished saying all this to the people who were listening, he entered Capernaum. There, a centurion's servant, whom his master valued highly, was sick and about to die. The centurion heard of Jesus and sent some of the elders of the Jews to him, asking him to come and heal his servant. When they came to Jesus, they pleaded earnestly with him, "This man deserves that you do this, because he loved our people and he built our synagogue. So Jesus went with them. He was not far from the house when the centurion sent friend to say to him, Lord, don't trouble yourself, for I do not deserve that you have come under my roof. That is why I do not even consider myself worthy to come to you. But say the word, and my servant will be healed. For I myself am a man under authority, with soldiers under me. I tell this, I tell this one, go, and he goes. And to that one, come, and he comes. I said to my servant, do this, and he does it. When Jesus heard this, he was amazed at him, and turning to the crowd following him, said, I tell you, I have not found such great faith even in Israel. And then the man who had been sent returned to the house and found the servant well. This is the word of the Lord.
Amen.
When we read passages like this, I understand that we are so far in time and space between this event and us. What do I mean by this? Many of the things, just passes out over head because it's not part of our culture. I mean, you have an American culture. There is an Israeli culture. I have my own Venezuelan culture. There are things we may have in common, and there are things like you do, like, why are they doing this thing? Why do they say, Yahoo, Yahoo? Or Yeehaw. Yeehaw, sorry. I'm getting there. It's the same, it is the same in our Bible, and it's the same with the biblical stories. When we encounter something, it's like, I don't understand. Many times, because it's a cultural thing, there is a cultural barrier between us and this culture. So that's why it's hard at times to understand. So we have, we have few characters in this story. We have Jesus. We have a Roman officer. We have a servant. We have Jewish elders. We have the nation, the people of Israel. We have the friends of the soldiers, and soldiers, and Israel. These are the characters played in this story. Notice, no one time mentions the disciples. Where are they? Well, we get there. First, let's try to break down the cultural barrier so that we can understand the story, because so we can see what is between the line that we're missing. So, I'm very visual. I wish next time we need to get a map of Israel so that I can point. So, if you haven't been in Israel yet, Capernaum is located on the northern part of the lake. We call it the Sea of Galilee. It's actually not a sea. It's sweet water, just a lake. You can actually see all the dimensions from north to south, east to west. So Capernaum is just located on the northern part of the lake, just by the shore. So we can locate ourselves geographically in the area. And I hear you asking, what is a Roman centurion doing in this story? What did he have to do with all of this? Well, if you came on Wednesday, I told you that what today we call Israel, as well as what today is Jordan and Syria and Lebanon today, was part of the Roman Empire. It was conquered in the 60s of the 1st century BC. Pompey comes in the year 63 BC and conquered and made Judea part of the Roman Empire. Meaning Jesus was born into what? An occupation. They did not have their own independence. Therefore, they needed to secure the Romans, Rome. Pretty much like you guys, you have military base all over the planet. Yes or no? Right? You need to exactly the same concept. So we have a Roman officer in this story because where Capernaum is located is what there was an ancient road called the Via Maris, called the way of the sea. And from distance to distance, you needed to deploy soldiers in order to control the road. That's why there is a Roman Centurion in the story, because nearby when we were in Capernaum, although today, if you come to Capernaum, it's kind of divided between two churches, the Roman Catholic Church and the Greek Orthodox. They own what ancient Capernaum used to be. On the other side, that we did not go, you never normally go unless you are Greek Orthodox. On the other side of today's Capernaum, they found a Roman camp. So he agrees with the story. We do know, and also that the ancient road used to pass by. So they needed to control the road. In this story, I mean, this Roman centurion always fascinates me for many reasons. He respected authority. He did not abuse his own power. It says that he heard about Jesus. I mean, he did not read his profile in Facebook to see who he was. He heard about Jesus. Let me tell you something. And this is not there's a hint in the book of Acts. But Jesus was not the first, not the last one to perform miracle during his time period. There were many healers during his time. So he wasn't doing nothing new. One example of that is Simon in the book of Acts. Well, he was what we call in Spanish a charlatan. Okay? He was just deceiving people. So he heard about Jesus, and faith comes by hearing. Now, if this centurion, one, did not believe that Jesus can actually heal his servant, why bother? Well, his fame, Jesus' fame is expanded throughout the region. In the Galilee as well as Judea. Most of his ministry is in the northern part, North Jerusalem. Jerusalem had a different role, different purpose in his ministry. So he believed that he can do that. Now, who has the sword? Let's put it in modern terminology. Who has the shotgun? Him. Right? He could have just sent some soldiers. He said it. I have men under my command. I tell him, go and he goes. To that one, come and he comes. He simply could have said, bring me that man called Jesus right now. He does not. He did not abuse his authority. Sadly, today, we do have people who does this. Right?
Yes.
And both outside of the church, within in the church, they used power. So here about Jesus, ask, look how he respects authority right here. That he go directly to Jesus? No. He goes to the elders of the synagogue. There's no church yet, okay? That will come later. So he goes to the elders of the Jews. So, you know, one of it's basically saying, you know, one of your boys, I think he could come and help me. Could you please? I mean, Luke is very specific in comparison to Matthew, who tells the same story, because he says, earnestly. I mean, it's like it's urgent, please do this to this man. These are the elders now. He went to the elders. The elders come to Jesus. Once again, if the elders would not believe that Jesus can perform this, once again, they would not bother, right? They didn't doubt that he could do it. They have other arguments later, but on this, it wouldn't. I mean, if you know someone who's lazy, and you ask him, could you do this? Would you bother? No, there's someone who's more responsible to do the job. It's the same over here. This man deserves that you do this. Because he loved our nation. Take the whole nation of two people. He loved our people. I mean, we are under occupation. These people are occupying us. Yet, he deserved that you do this for him. He built our synagogue. Now, if you go to Capernaum today, you're not going to find that synagogue that they're referring in this text. The one that the ruins of the synagogue that you see today come from much later. However, the foundation of today is from the 1st century. Maybe the one that they are referring to. And another thing that surprised me is Jesus' reaction. What did he say? Nothing. He didn't argue. He said, I just came from teaching. Because if you go back again to verse 1, it says, when Jesus has finished saying all of this, always notice what is before. If you go to chapter 6, he's been teaching. And teaching also started. Trust me, I do that for a living sometimes. It started. He didn't say, you know what, let's do it tomorrow. Let me check my schedule. Let me talk to the secretary, maybe she, I'm tired. He doesn't say one word. Luke says this. So Jesus went with them. He was willing. Most likely he's tired, hungry, having eaten all day. So now, once again, he put others before him. I'm telling you this, and I tell that to myself. Sometimes we are not like this. Someone's calling us, and we see who's calling. It's him again. And we don't answer. Yes or no? Okay, but he was willing. Now, Luke is an amazing scholar. Because Luke is not an eyewitness. Luke wasn't there. Luke was not one of the disciples. For the fourth gospel, 2 eyewitnesses. Matthew, John. Mark is not, neither is Luke. He did a tremendous and thorough work by investigating, by asking, and researching. This today deserves a PhD, if not 2. in today's terminology. So he's not far from the house, meaning there in the vicinity. What you saw when you were in Capernaum is nothing. Capernaum continues on the ground. It hasn't been everything hasn't been excavated. When the centurion heard that he's coming, now again you have to picture this. It's not that he got a WhatsApp, well, you don't have WhatsApp yet. It's not that he got an SMS on his cell phone. He is coming, right? You have to hear the noise. Because it says the following. He was not far from the house when the centurion sent friends to him, meaning to Jesus, Lord, don't trouble yourself, for I do not deserve you have come under my roof. That is why I did not even consider myself worthy to come to you. This is a man with authority. This is a man who could have 4 Jesus to come. He doesn't do it. And I lost the place where I was reading. That's why I didn't even consider myself to come to you. But say the word, and my servant will be healed. So here Jesus is coming. It's a crowd of people following him. But what does this mean? I am not worthy that you come under my roof. Well, that's again, this is a cultural thing that goes over our head. And that's what we will see this tonight when we speak on chapter 10. During that time, a Jew will not associate with a non-Jew. That's what the Bible calls Gentile. A Gentile is a man who's not Jewish, period. Or a woman, for that matter. That's always referred to men. Sorry, girls. And he said, I'm not worthy. Don't bother. It's not just no, don't bother. It's not like it's an excuse. You know. No. Because for a Jew to go to a house for a Gentile, that means that he will become impure. So when the Bible speaks about purity, this got nothing to do with sin. As a Jew, if you go to, because that Gentile who have idol worship in his house, he could be eating, cheeseburger. No, that can't be, that's a joke. But he could be eating pigs, bacon. I know you like bacon. You're right. And a Jew, then, today they are not as strict, at least the secular Jews, wouldn't eat any of the stuff. Wouldn't even want to come near any of this. And by being under his roof, he will become impure. Not sinful, impure. And what does this mean? Again, it got nothing to do with our culture. What that would mean then that Jesus will have to go to a purification process. He has to get, quotation mark, baptized. What am I talking about? What kind of baptism are you talking about? Again, you need to come to Israel to see it. During that time period, during the time of Jesus, there were different types of what we call baptism, which is basically immersion in water. One was for sin. That's the one that John is practicing in the Jordan River. But while John is surprised when Jesus comes to him and says, no, you need to baptize me, no need to do it. But this is not the type of immersion that we're talking about. And we're talking about immersion that has to do with purification. Because you have become impure. You either, perhaps you touch a dead body, or you touch a woman who is having a menstrual period and you become impure just by touching her. And others. So you will have to immerse yourself in water. if Jesus had gone to his house. That's what this man said. And don't do this. I mean, I know even more that you will become impure because of me. That's why I don't even consider myself worthy to come to you. But say the word. Just say it. I mean, it's like, that's faith in action. He didn't say, what do you want me to do? What penitence do I have to do? What God do I need to worship? Because the Romans would worship different God, and there was one God, the medicine. Just say it. Just say the word. For I myself am a man under authority with soldiers under me. I tell this, go, and he goes. To that one, come, and he comes. I said to my servant, do this, and he does it. When Jesus heard this, this is the first time he's speaking. He hasn't said a word in this whole passage. Now he's speaking. So he was amazed at him, and then turning to the crowd, that's what I'm saying, there was a people following him. And this is where the disciples are. Because remember, he's entering Capernaum. Who was from Capernaum? Who's that? Who lived in Capernaum? Peter. So, we know Peter's there because they're entering Capernaum. That's what his house was. Well, his mother-in-law at least. He loved her. And turning to the crowd, he says, I tell you, I have not found such a great faith even in Israel. Yo, this is big. They are priests, they are Levites, they were scribes, there were Pharisees, there were Sadducees, there were Baptists, and Presbyterians, and Catholics, you name them. Have not found faith like this man. A man who doesn't abuse authority, a man who has respect for religious authority, a man who loved his servant. Guys, during that time period, servant were, how do you say, expendables?
Property.
If he died, he buys another one. You throw it away. Big deal. Go to Walmart, get another one. He loved him. You think it? He said, Walmart is where America buys, right? So I heard this morning. He loved him. He loved this man. I mean, he loved his servant. And trust me, okay, there is no human rights during this time period that people will protect, okay, slave, servants. If we put this in today's context, he loved his worker. Someone who does something for him. I don't know if anyone has workers under your authority, but it will be the equivalent of this. Then the man who has been sent returned to the house and found the servant well. We don't hear about this man anymore. What happened to him? We don't know. Can we speculate? Maybe. After such an encounter, I don't believe personally that this man, the Centurion, is the same again.
Amen.
Because first he hears about Jesus. I mean, his fame is spreading all over the region. And now he sees Jesus in action. Actually, he didn't even do nothing. Notice, Jesus didn't do basically nothing other than being willing, which is a big deal in the first century, to live impure because of one person. I remember growing up in church, hearing this, wow, if there was only one person in the planet, right, God will send still Jesus to die for that person. You ever heard something like that?
Yeah.
For one man, he was willing to be impure.
Amen.
For one man. The purification lasts for one day, basically. But still he was willing. He doesn't reply like he did to, I'm sure you know the story, of the Canaanite woman. Let me read you the story. I'm going to the book of Matthew, chapter 16, verse 21. Now, Jesus is really, really, really far in terms of days walking from Capernaum. Leaving that place, okay, if you want to know what place was, you always have to go backward. Jesus withdrew to the region of Tyre and Sidon, or Sidon. Where is that today? Modern Lebanon. You look at the map, Lebanon and then Capernaum. Guess 2 days walking. A Canaanite woman from the vicinity came to him, crying out, Lord, Son of David. Wait a minute. How do you know he's the Son of David? We spoke about the Son of David, right? On Wednesday. Because she heard. Have mercy on me. My daughter is demon possessed and suffering terribly. Yet again, if she wouldn't believe that Jesus is a charlatan, okay, she wouldn't come. She would not bother. Jesus did not answer a word. So his disciple came to him and urged him, just let her go. It's really bad. Send her away, for she keeps crying out after us. And he answered, I was sent only to the lost sheep of Israel. Jesus was very clear why he came. He knew his mission. He knew his purpose. And he couldn't be more clear than this. I was sent to the house of Israel. You guys, at least not yet. The woman came and knelt before him. Lord, help me. She said, I like that. It's your consistency. How many of us, we give up so easily on whatever? We can give up sometimes in our own faith. Because that lady who comes to church doesn't say hello to me.
Preach.
The pastor doesn't answer the phone when I call him.
Preach.
And we stop as if our faith is based on the way we treat us.
Right.
What's the picture? Yeah. Our faith is in the risen Messiah.
Amen.
Not in the church. No friends, even our family. Let me tell you a secret you don't know yet. People will disappoint you and let you down.
Right.
But this woman persisted. She knew what she wanted, no matter what. And he replied, "It is not right to give to the children's bread and toss it to the dogs." This is Jesus speaking. He just called her a dog. Sometimes we think Jesus, God is Santa Claus. You know, so good. Oh, he is good, but he's right. He's just. He's not a genie. You know, whatever you wish. No, but she persisted. And look what he called her. You are a dog. Yes, it is, Lord, she said. Even the dogs eat the crumb that fall from the master's table. Then Jesus said to her, "Woman, your great faith. Your request is granted." And her daughter was healed at that moment. This is how the Israelites, the Jews at that time period, saw the Gentile. You're just dogs. You have no part, okay, in this business. That's why the disciple thought, just send her away. He's bothering us. And if Jesus is in that region, it's because there were Jews in that region. And she hears about him. With the centurion, it's strange. He doesn't do that. Actually, he doesn't even have contact with the centurion. It was always through the friends. But it was the faith of that man and the faith of this woman that the want was granted. Servant get well, daughter get delivered. And that brings us today as to, well, very nice story. What it got to do with me? I'm in West Virginia. I mean, this story took place long ago. I don't know if there's any, actually in the flesh, are there any Jews in the crowd? What it got to do with me? Well, as I spoke on Wednesday, but you will have to come tonight, the second part. What did this have to do with me? Because the disciples obviously are with Jesus on this event. Why? Why are they with him? Well, it's simple. Okay, you follow your teacher. That's what a rabbi or a teacher would do in that. They will have disciples coming wherever he goes, talking the way he spoke. Even sometimes they will dress, right? Like his teacher would dress, sleep with him. They will mimic him in every way. That's basically what a disciple is. I believe we all claim, but I know that's not him, okay? But that's what an icon is. It's a representation. We don't venerate, right? This type of art, we don't, but it reminds us. I'm very visual, okay, so this kind of stuff helps to remember. And when Jesus chooses these 12 men, He taught them something which was very unusual for his time period. And I ask you this question to you today. How many of you chose to follow Jesus? I'm asking you a question. If you can raise your hand if you chose to follow him. Let me tell you a secret. You just know a secret. You didn't choose him. He chose you. Don't you ever take that for granted. There are still millions, hundreds of millions of people on this planet who never heard this story. And that's exactly what Jesus does to his disciples. You didn't choose me. I chose you. And that time period, teachers would not go around choosing disciples. It was the other way around. You will go, you will have to invest, and let's say, well, you have 3 girls and a boy, you will invest on your boy to go to this teacher to teach him. Because he has a reputation of being a good teacher, a good rabbi. So you will send your boy to him. Ain't gonna be free though. You need to make a living. So that's how it was done at that time. So he didn't choose him. He chose us.
Amen.
And consider this a privilege and a blessing beyond measure. Even in this nation, there are people who do not follow him. So, you want to hear the second part of the story? You need to come tonight.